All right, with that, let's tell you how the U.S. President Donald Trump has hit out at Fox News host as she's revealed his negative poll numbers in a televised segment. In a scathing critique, Donald Trump took to Truth Social, hurling slurs against Fox News host Jessica Tarlov. In fact, in his post, he described her as one of the least attractive and talented people on all of television, citing that Jessica's voice is grating and terrible. Now, Tarlov, who's a former strategist and pollster for the Democratic Party, bashed Donald Trump's popularity during a roundtable discussion with her co-hosts. In her statement, Jessica Tarlov said that the U.S. president has a 35% approval rating in most polls, also adding that Americans did not want tariffs, a war with Iran, and also the ballroom at the White House, which has been reconstructed. A recent YouGov poll found that just 38% of Americans approve of the way Trump is handling his job as president, while 56% disapprove. According to the poll, most Americans don't back the war that Trump and Israel have waged against Iran. Only 35% approve of how Trump is handling Iran, while 57% disapprove of the current situation. Now, President Trump's recent rift with Pope Leo XIV, where in a lengthy social media post, the president had called the head of the Catholic Church as too liberal and weak on crime, is also drawing backlash from the Catholic cohort. In the 2024 presidential elections, remember, the Pew Research Center analyzed that racial background played a significant role, with 62% of white Catholics voting for Donald Trump and 37% for Kamala Harris, while 41% of the Hispanic Catholics voted Trump and 58% voted for Harris. Let me quickly go across to Susan Tehrani, our colleague joining us from New York. Susan, the fact that there has been a lot of criticism coming Jessica Tarlov's way from Donald Trump is reflective of also how his deteriorating polling numbers have started to affect him, specifically, of course, the coming right ahead of the midterm elections in November this year.
Yeah, absolutely. These two stories converge in more than one way, as you mentioned. On the one hand, he has this attack on a personality that's really saying his poll numbers, and she's saying these poll numbers on a network like Fox, where most Republicans watch. And the show that she's on, is extremely popular in America among Democrats and Republicans. So that's why perhaps he pinpointed that and took issue with that, because there is really sort of a disconnect between President Trump's poll numbers and the narrative that the White House is putting out, especially when it comes to the war in Iran. Historically, foreign policy is a strong bragging point for U.S. presidents. It's not a point where voters really have strong opinions on. But when it comes to the issue of the Iran war and the tariffs, it appears that the American people are not on the same page as the White House is. And it just shows how sensitive the White House is to these poll numbers. But I think even those that support the president believe that it is important for the president and his administration and his White House to look beyond the people that are giving him all the good news about the good things that he's doing. And he needs to understand that there is this disconnect in trying to prevent perhaps an all-out wipeout in the elections, the midterms.
All right, Susan, thanks very much. I'll leave it there. Thank you very much for joining us with the latest at the moment.